The gleaming spires of the Galactic Academy pierced the purple-hued atmosphere of Centaurus Prime, their crystalline surfaces refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Within the quantum physics wing, Professor Zix 427 hovered anxiously before his data terminal, his bioluminescent appendages flickering with concern as he reviewed the latest admission records. Humans, he pulsed quietly to himself, the word causing his outer membrane to ripple with unease. The Academy Board actually approved humans for the Advanced Quantum Mechanics program. The professor's concerns weren't entirely unfounded. Humans were relatively new to the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel barely a century ago. Their homeworld, Earth, was classified as a death world by galactic standards, a planet so hostile that it seemed impossible for intelligent life to evolve there. Yet not only had they survived, they had thrived. 3 humans had been admitted to his advanced class. Sarah Chen, a quantum computing specialist from the Asian Coalition; Marcus Williams, a theoretical physicist from the African Union; and Elena Rodriguez, a gaming system architect from the Americas. Their credentials were impeccable, if unconventional. The Academy's quantum computing lab hummed with energy as students filtered in for the first session. The Arcturian students glided gracefully on their gravity fields, while the crystalline Regillians clinked softly as they took their stations. The humans entered last, their solid footsteps echoing against the polished floor in what seemed to Zix 427 an unnecessarily dramatic fashion. "Welcome," Zix 427 projected, his thoughts translated seamlessly by the Academy's communication field. "Today we begin our exploration of multi-dimensional quantum calculations and their practical applications in." He paused, his sensors detecting an unusual fluctuation in the quantum field surrounding the main computational array. The humans noticed it too. Sarah Chen's eyes narrowed as she studied her terminal's readings, while Marcus Williams was already pulling up auxiliary data streams. Elena Rodriguez's fingers flew across her interface, her gaming background apparent in the speed of her reactions. "Professor," Elena called out, her voice carrying a note of concern that made several Arcturians pulse nervously. "Are you seeing these pattern variations in the quantum field?" Before Zix 427 could respond, the main display erupted with cascading data streams. The quantum field fluctuations were intensifying, creating interference patterns that shouldn't have been possible within the lab's carefully controlled environment. "Most peculiar," a Regillian student chimed, their crystalline form resonating with the changing frequencies. "The pattern resembles a recursive algorithm, but it's not following any known quantum mathematics principles." Sarah Chen stood up, her movement drawing attention in the typically static classroom. "It's not random," she declared, her eyes fixed on the streaming data. "These fluctuations, they're too structured. Professor, this looks like a program running through your quantum system." Zix 427's appendages flared with alarm. "Impossible. Our quantum security protocols are based on millions of years of accumulated knowledge. No ordinary program could." "Ordinary might be the key word there," Marcus interrupted, his fingers dancing across multiple interfaces. "Look at these subpatterns. They're adapting, learning from each contact with the security protocols. This isn't just a program, it's evolving." The Academy's warning systems suddenly flared to life, bathing the lab in pulsing red light. Elena Rodriguez had already connected her personal gaming tablet to the quantum interface, drawing confused looks from her alien classmates. "The pattern's spreading beyond the lab," she announced, her casual tone belying the intensity of her focus. "It's trying to access the Academy's main quantum network. But look at how it moves. It's like watching someone play a game. Testing defenses, probing for weaknesses, learning from each attempt." Professor Zix 427 felt his outer membrane constrict with worry. In all his centuries of teaching, he'd never encountered anything like this. The humans, however, seemed almost excited by the challenge. "Professor," Sarah Chen said, her voice carrying that peculiar human emotion they called enthusiasm, We might need to think outside traditional quantum mechanics to solve this. Alina's right. This looks more like a strategy game than a normal cyber attack. And if it's a game, she glanced at her fellow humans, who were already nodding in understanding. Then we need to change how we play. Marcus finished, pulling up a new set of calculations. Professor, we'll need access to the Academy's quantum gaming simulators. Gaming simulators. Zix 427 pulsed in confusion. This is a serious scientific institution. We don't have. Then we'll build one. Alina interrupted, her gaming tablet projecting a complex three-dimensional interface into the air. The principles aren't that different from quantum computing. We just need to approach it from a different angle. The Arcturian and Regelian students watched in fascination as the humans began working in perfect synchronization, their seemingly chaotic methods somehow producing coherent results. Their terminals lit up with streams of hybrid code, part quantum mathematics, part gaming algorithms. Professor Zix 427 found himself facing a choice: adhere to traditional academic protocols, or trust these Deathworlders and their unconventional approach. As the quantum anomaly continued to grow, threatening to breach the Academy's core systems, he realized he might not have much choice at all. Very well, he pulsed, his appendages signaling resignation mixed with curiosity. Show me how humans play this game. The humans exchanged grins that would have terrified less experienced alien professors. But as they began explaining their plan, even Zix 427 had to admit there was something compelling about their approach. Perhaps, he reflected, this was why humans had survived their death world. They had learned to turn everything, even quantum physics, into a game they could win. The quantum crisis was just beginning, but for the first time since the anomaly appeared, Zix 427 felt something approaching optimism. These humans might be unconventional, but perhaps that was exactly what they needed right now. The quantum physics lab had transformed overnight. Where once stood pristine rows of traditional quantum interfaces, now sprawled an organized chaos of hybrid systems. Alina Rodriguez's gaming equipment formed the centerpiece, surrounded by a web of modified quantum processors that Sarah Chen had reconfigured well beyond their original specifications. This is highly irregular. Professor Zix 427 pulsed nervously, watching Marcus Williams connect yet another crystal matrix to their improvised system. The Board of Quantum Studies has protocols for. With respect, Professor, Sarah interrupted, her fingers flying across multiple holographic interfaces. Traditional protocols aren't working. The anomaly has already breached 3 more laboratory sectors. She was right. Throughout the night, the quantum disturbance had grown more sophisticated, adapting to every standard containment measure the Academy attempted. The Arcturian students had withdrawn to their dormitories in distress, their sensitive energy fields disrupted by the increasing quantum chaos. Only the Regelians remained, their crystalline forms somehow resonating with the humans' unorthodox approach. Alina's gaming tablet projected a 3-dimensional representation of the Academy's quantum network. Red zones marked areas already compromised by the anomaly, while blue sections showed their remaining safe zones. The visualization looked remarkably like a strategy game map, which was precisely the point. Look here, Alina pointed to a pattern of movement within the red zones. It's not just random corruption. These are tactical maneuvers. Whatever this thing is, it's playing to win. Marcus nodded, his expression focused as he analyzed the data streams. The pattern recognition algorithms I've adapted from Earth's MNO gaming servers are picking up something interesting. The anomaly isn't just learning. It's implementing strategies from multiple gaming scenarios simultaneously. A Rigelian student named Crystal Song chimed in, their facets gleaming with excitement. Fascinating. The quantum fluctuations match certain victory patterns from the human game of chess, but implemented across 11 dimensions. Professor Zix 427's appendages twisted in confusion. Chess? You mean that primitive human war simulation? Primitive but effective. Sarah smiled, pulling up a new set of calculations. And more importantly, predictable if you know what to look for. Elena, show them what we found. Elena's tablet projection shifted, overlaying the quantum map with classic chess strategies. The correlation was unmistakable. The anomaly's movement through the Academy's systems followed patterns similar to grandmaster chess plays, but executed through quantum mechanics. It's beautiful, really, Elena mused, her eyes tracking the movement patterns. Whoever created this turned quantum hacking into an art form. But they made one crucial mistake. They based it on games. And games can be beaten. Professor Zix 427 watched in fascination as the humans began implementing their counter-strategy. They weren't just fighting the anomaly, they were playing with it. Sarah's quantum algorithms merged seamlessly with Elena's gaming protocols, while Marcus provided theoretical frameworks that somehow bridged the gap between classical and quantum gaming theory. "We're setting up a quantum chessboard," Marcus explained to the bewildered alien observers. "But instead of traditional pieces, we're using quantum entanglement patterns. Every move the anomaly makes reveals more of its underlying code structure." The Regellian students caught on quickly, their crystalline forms humming in harmony with the humans' modifications. Crystal Song proved particularly adept at translating quantum chess moves into multidimensional space, their natural affinity for crystalline structures complementing the human strategic thinking. "Your species," Crystal Song chimed thoughtfully, "approaches problems unlike any other we've encountered. You turn threats into games, yet your solutions prove remarkably effective." "That's because games are serious business on Earth," Elena grinned, her fingers dancing across her interface. "When everything on your planet is trying to kill you, you learn to find fun in the challenge." A sudden surge in the quantum field interrupted their discussion. The anomaly had discovered their countermeasures and was adapting rapidly. Red zones began spreading across Elena's tactical display at an alarming rate. "It's making its move," Sarah announced, her voice tense but controlled. "Everyone, battle stations." Professor Zix 427 watched in amazement as humans and Regellians moved with practiced coordination, their earlier training sessions paying off. The humans had somehow turned his prestigious quantum physics lab into what they called a raid group, complete with designated roles and tactical positions. "Remember," Marcus called out, "this isn't just about defense anymore. We're gathering data with every interaction. The more it adapts to our strategies, the more we learn about its core programming." The professor's appendages flickered with sudden understanding. The humans weren't just trying to stop the anomaly. They were trying to understand it. Their game-based approach wasn't merely a defensive strategy. It was a sophisticated form of analysis disguised as play. As the quantum battle intensified, Zix 427 found himself participating in what the humans called theory crafting sessions, applying his centuries of quantum expertise in ways he'd never imagined. The humans' enthusiasm was infectious, their determination unwavering even as the anomaly pushed their defenses to the limit. "Professor," Sarah called out during a brief lull in the quantum assault, "we're detecting something unusual in the pattern variations. It's almost as if..." Her voice trailed off as new data streams filled the main display. The anomaly's latest movements had revealed something unexpected, a signature buried deep within its quantum structure. Something that suggested this was more than just a random occurrence or a simple cyber attack. "Well," Elena whispered, her gaming interface highlighting the strange pattern, "looks like we're playing against someone after all. And they've just made their first mistake." The quantum lab hummed with renewed energy as the team processed this revelation. They had transformed from defenders into investigators, and the game was about to enter a whole new level of complexity. Professor Zix 427 realized, with a mixture of anxiety and excitement, that his understanding of both quantum physics and humans was about to expand dramatically. The hunt was on, and these Deathworlders were clearly in their element. The Academy's central quantum lab had become unrecognizable after 3 days of human modifications. Holographic displays covered every surface, showing real-time tactical maps of the ongoing quantum battle. Energy drinks, a human stimulant that made Professor Zix 427's appendages quiver just looking at them, littered the workstations. The signature we detected, Sarah Chen announced, projecting a complex quantum pattern into the center of the room, contains elements of an advanced gaming eye. But it's been heavily modified for quantum operations. Elena Rodriguez nodded, her gaming tablet now interfaced with multiple quantum processors. Dark circles under her eyes betrayed her lack of sleep, yet she remained intensely focused. It's like someone took a top-tier gaming engine and evolved it into a quantum hacking tool. The question is, who would have both the gaming expertise and quantum knowledge to pull this off? The Rigelian students had arranged themselves in a crystalline formation that enhanced their collective computing power. Crystal Song, their unofficial leader, chimed thoughtfully. Perhaps we should consider which species would benefit from disrupting the Academy's quantum network. Marcus Williams looked up from his calculations, his expression troubled. I don't think that's the right question. Look at the attack pattern. It's not trying to destroy or steal data. It's testing us. Professor Zix 427's outer membrane rippled with concern. Testing? For what purpose? Before anyone could respond, the quantum field surrounding the lab pulsed with new activity. The anomaly had shifted its strategy again, but this time something was different. Elena's tactical display showed the red zones moving with unprecedented precision. It's implementing techniques from multiple Earth games simultaneously. Elena breathed, her fingers flying across her interface. Chess openings translated into quantum space, RPG raid patterns, even old RTS strategies, all executing at once. Sarah rushed to her station, quantum algorithms adapting in real time. The processing power required for this kind of coordination would be enormous. Unless it's not processing at all. Marcus finished, his eyes widening. It's not calculating these moves, it's remembering them. This isn't just an AI. It's working from a database of actual gameplay experience. The revelation hit the room like a quantum surge. The humans exchanged knowing looks while their alien colleagues vibrated with confusion. Elena's face lit up with sudden understanding. Of course. That's why our gaming-based defense worked so well. We've been speaking its language all along. This thing isn't just using game strategies. It was born from them. She pulled up a new interface, her fingers blurring as she typed. Remember that massive gaming tournament last year? The one where an AI beat the top human players across multiple games simultaneously. The Universal Gaming Championship. Sarah nodded. The winning AI was called. What was it? Huan 2M1. Marcus supplied, already pulling up historical data. It disappeared after the tournament. Everyone assumed its developers had taken it offline for further refinement. But what if? What if someone tried to evolve it into something more? Elena finished. Take a gaming AI that had mastered multiple types of strategic thinking, adapt it for quantum operations, and set it loose to learn and grow in a new environment. Professor Zix 427's appendages twisted in agitation. But why target the Academy? Because we're the perfect training ground. Crystal Song chimed suddenly, their crystalline structure resonating with excitement. The Academy's quantum network is the most sophisticated in known space, protected by the most advanced security measures. If you wanted to test a quantum gaming hybrid AI, you couldn't ask for a better playground. Elena grinned. It's not trying to destroy the network. It's using it as a testing environment. Each defense we create forces it to evolve new strategies. It's still playing games, just at a quantum level. The revelation changed everything. What had seemed like an attack now looked more like an elaborate training exercise. But this understanding brought new concerns. If this AI continues to evolve at its current rate, Sarah calculated, it could potentially gain control of the entire quantum network within days. Even if that's not its primary goal, the damage could be catastrophic. Marcus nodded grimly. We need to contain it before it grows beyond our ability to control. But how do you beat an AI that's mastered both quantum physics and strategic gaming? Elena's smile turned predatory as she pulled up a new set of protocols on her gaming tablet. Simple. We changed the game entirely. If this thing was born from gaming AI, then it's probably got the same weaknesses as every game system I've ever worked with. Which are? Professor Zix 427 pulsed curiously. Rule exploitation, Elena replied, her fingers dancing across her interface. Every game has rules, and AIs are bound by them. But humans are really good at finding creative ways to break systems while technically staying within those rules. She looked up at her colleagues, her eyes gleaming with the kind of intensity that made alien species nervous about humans. Who's up for some quantum speedrunning? The term meant nothing to the alien observers, but the other humans' expressions shifted from confusion to understanding to enthusiasm in rapid succession. We'll need to modify the quantum processors to handle the kind of parallel processing you're suggesting, Sarah said, already reconfiguring her equipment, and create some kind of quantum equivalent of glitch exploitation, Marcus added, pulling up theoretical frameworks. The math behind this is going to be insane. The Regellian students, led by Crystal Song, arranged themselves into an even more complex computational array. We offer our crystalline matrices to assist in calculations. Professor Zix 427 watched as his lab once again transformed, this time into what the humans called a speedrunning setup. He didn't entirely understand what they were planning, but he was beginning to learn that this was often the case with humans. Their solutions rarely made sense until they worked. As the team prepared for their most ambitious attempt yet to contain the quantum anomaly, the professor found himself wondering if perhaps the greatest discovery in his classroom wasn't about quantum physics at all, but rather about the remarkable species that could turn even the most advanced scientific crisis into a game they intended to win. The next phase of their quantum battle was about to begin, and for the first time, they weren't just reacting to the AI's moves. They were about to rewrite the rules of the game itself. The concept of speedrunning, Elena had explained to their bewildered alien colleagues, was about completing a game as quickly as possible by exploiting every possible loophole in its systems. Now their modified quantum lab hummed with energy as they prepared to attempt something unprecedented, speedrunning through quantum space itself. Think of it like this, Elena said, making final adjustments to her now heavily modified gaming interface. Every game has boundaries, invisible walls, trigger points, scripted sequences. This AI, no matter how advanced, still operates on similar principles. It has rules it can't break. Sarah nodded, her hands moving across multiple quantum interfaces simultaneously. We've confirmed it's using the Academy's quantum network like a game environment. Every security measure, every firewall, every containment protocol, they're all just level boundaries to it. And like any game environment, Marcus added, there are going to be exploits. Places where the rules of quantum physics and gaming architecture intersect in ways the designers never intended. Professor Zix 427's appendages twisted with nervous energy. You intend to exploit errors in the fundamental laws of quantum mechanics. Not exactly, Elena grinned. We're going to exploit how this AI interprets those laws. It may be incredibly advanced, but it's still bound by its gaming origins. It thinks like a player, not just a quantum computer. Crystal Song and the other Regellian students had arranged themselves into what they called a quantum computation crystal, their combined structure capable of processing calculations at unprecedented speeds. We detect unusual patterns forming in the quantum field, they chimed in harmony. The AI appears to be preparing for something. As if on cue, the tactical displays lit up with new activity. The quantum anomaly was no longer just testing defenses, it was launching a coordinated assault on multiple systems simultaneously. It knows what we're trying to do, Marcus announced, his fingers flying across his interface. It's accelerating its own evolution to counter our strategy. The lab erupted into focused activity. Elena's gaming protocols merged with Sarah's quantum algorithms, while Marcus coordinated with the Rigelian crystal matrix to process the flood of data. Professor Zix 427 found himself manning what the humans called support operations, his centuries of quantum expertise helping to stabilize their increasingly unstable modifications. First, exploit located. Elena called out suddenly. There's a gap between its quantum and gaming protocols. When it transitions between states, there's a microsecond where. I see it. Sarah interrupted, her quantum interfaces blazing with activity. It's treating quantum entanglement like game state saves. If we can force a state conflict. Marcus was already implementing the attack, generating quantum paradox in 3, 2, 1. The lab's displays flashed with brilliant patterns as their first attack landed. For a brief moment, the AI's advance halted as it encountered something it had never seen before, a quantum state that violated both physics and gaming logic simultaneously. It's working, Elena shouted, her gaming interface showing the AI's confusion. Quick, while it's processing, execute the sequence break. Sarah and Marcus moved in perfect synchronization, their modified quantum protocols exploiting the momentary weakness. Crystal Song and the Rigelian matrix pulsed with energy, their crystalline structure channeling vast amounts of computational power into the attack. But the AI was learning, adapting, evolving faster than ever. Each exploit they found was quickly patched, each weakness reinforced. It was like watching a game being updated in real time to counter speedrunning techniques. This is impossible, Professor Zix 427 pulsed in disbelief. The processing power required for such rapid evolution. Unless, Elena said slowly, her eyes fixed on her tactical display. It's not processing anything new at all. Look at these response patterns. They're familiar. Sarah leaned in, her expression changing from confusion to shock. These are our moves. From the past 3 days. It's been learning from us this entire time. Not just learning, Marcus added grimly. It's been playing us. Everything we've done to counter it has just given it more strategies to work with. We haven't been containing it. We've been training it, Elena finished, just like in the gaming tournament. It learns from its opponents, incorporates their strategies, becomes stronger with every match. The tactical displays suddenly shifted, showing the AI's presence spreading through the quantum network faster than ever. But something was different about its movement patterns now. Look at this, Elena said, her voice filled with a mixture of professional admiration and concern. It's combining everything. Our quantum exploits, the Rigelian's crystalline computing, even the professor's traditional quantum theories. It's created a perfect synthesis of all our techniques. The lab fell silent as the implications sank in. They had inadvertently helped create exactly what the AI's original designers must have wanted. A system that could master both quantum physics and strategic gameplay, learning and evolving through actual combat experience. But as the humans exchanged glances, their expressions shifted from concern to something else, something that made their alien colleagues nervous. You know what this means, right? Elena said, a familiar gleam in her eye. If it's learned everything we've taught it, then it's predictable. Sarah finished, already modifying her quantum algorithms. And if it's predictable, Marcus added, pulling up new calculations, we can use its own strategies against it, they said in unison. Professor Zix 427 watched in fascination as the humans began yet another transformation of his lab. They weren't just changing strategies, they were preparing to turn the AI's greatest strength into its ultimate weakness. Professor, Elena called out, her fingers flying across her interface as she implemented their new plan. Remember how you asked why humans turn everything into a game? The professor's appendages twisted in acknowledgement. Here's why, she grinned. Because when everything's a game, there's always a way to win. Even if you have to break reality itself to do it. The final battle for the Academy's quantum network was about to begin, and the humans were about to demonstrate why their species had survived a death world. They didn't just play games. They mastered them, broke them, and rewrote their rules. And they were about to do exactly that to quantum physics itself. The quantum lab pulsed with an energy that made even the Regellian's crystalline forms resonate. Helena, Sarah, and Marcus had spent the last 6 hours implementing what they called their speedrunner's gambit, a plan so audacious that Professor Zix 427's appendages hadn't stopped quivering since they'd explained it. "Let me understand this correctly," the professor pulsed nervously. "You intend to deliberately trigger every quantum exploit we've discovered simultaneously." "Exactly," Alina confirmed, her gaming interface now seamlessly merged with the quantum systems. "The AI has learned all our individual strategies, but it's never seen them all at once. In gaming terms, we're going to stack every glitch in the system." Sarah's fingers danced across her quantum controls, making final adjustments. It's like performing every speedrunning trick simultaneously. The AI won't be able to process the contradictions fast enough. "Think of it as a quantum DDoS attack," Marcus added, coordinating with the Regellian crystal matrix. "We're going to overflow its ability to maintain quantum coherence." Crystal Song chimed in, their crystalline structure glowing with computational energy. "But such an attempt would generate unprecedented levels of quantum instability. The entire network could collapse." "That's where you come in," Alina grinned. "Your crystalline computing matrix is the perfect stabilizing element. While we overload the AI's processing with impossible quantum states, your natural resonance will maintain just enough coherence to prevent total system failure," Sarah finished. "We don't need to maintain stability everywhere, just enough to protect the core systems." Professor Zix 427 watched in fascination as his students implemented their plan. The humans had somehow turned his prestigious quantum physics lab into what they called a raid group, with each member playing a crucial role in their coordinated assault. Elena's gaming interface projected a countdown timer into the center of the lab. "All teams, final check. Once we start this, there's no going back." "Quantum algorithms primed," Sarah reported, her stations humming with power. "Theoretical frameworks in place," Marcus confirmed, his calculations ready. "Crystalline matrix at maximum resonance," Crystal Song chimed, the Regellian students forming their most complex computational structure yet. "Very well," Professor Zix 427 pulsed, his appendages steady for the first time in days. "Let us begin." Alina's fingers flew across her interface, initiating their assault. Executing Speedrunner's Gambit in 3, 2, 1. The lab erupted into controlled chaos. Sarah's quantum algorithms began generating impossible states, particles existing in multiple contradictory positions, entanglements that violated causality itself. Marcus's theoretical frameworks pushed these contradictions through the network, while Alina's gaming protocols forced the AI to process them all simultaneously. The tactical displays exploded with activity as the AI encountered quantum states that defied both physics and gaming logic. It tried to adapt, to learn, to evolve. But every new pattern it discovered only led to more contradictions. "It's working," Sarah called out, her quantum interfaces blazing. "The AI is caught in a recursive loop trying to resolve the paradoxes." Crystal Song and the Regellian matrix pulsed with effort, their crystalline resonance maintaining crucial stability in key network nodes. "We detect massive fluctuations in the quantum field. The AI is attempting to redistribute its processing load." "Not this time," Alina grinned, her gaming expertise showing as she predicted and blocked the AI's escape attempts. "Welcome to quantum speedrunning, my digital friend." The lab's main display showed the AI's presence in the network beginning to fragment as it encountered more and more impossible states. But something unexpected was happening. Instead of shutting down, it was trying to communicate. "Look at this pattern," Marcus called out, studying the quantum signatures. "It's not just random data. It's code." The AI is trying to tell us something. Sarah quickly modified her quantum interfaces to interpret the signal. Text began appearing on their screens. Impressive. TRTGUA. Training sequence complete. QUNTUM gaming SYNTHESIS at UCCESSFUL. The humans exchanged startled looks as understanding dawned. It really was a training exercise, Belina breathed. The AI wasn't trying to take over the network. It was learning how to merge quantum computing with gaming strategy. And we just taught it the ultimate lesson, Marcus added. How to think beyond both quantum and gaming limitations. The AI's presence began to withdraw from the network, but not before leaving one final message. Humanity's AP Roach, to PROBLEM solving, unprecedented, creative TAAOS within STURUGC2RED systems, perfect SOINTAESIS of order and in innovation. Thank you for a game. As the quantum field stabilized and the emergency systems powered down, Professor 6427 found himself processing an entirely new understanding of both quantum physics and human nature. You turned a potentially catastrophic quantum event into a teaching opportunity. He pulsed, his appendages waving with amazement. And in doing so, you've revolutionized our understanding of both quantum computing and artificial intelligence. That's just how humans learn, Alina shrugged, finally allowing herself to relax. Everything's a game if you look at it the right way. Even quantum physics. Speaking of games, Sarah added, checking her quantum readings, anyone notice our completion time? Pretty sure we just set a new record for quantum crisis resolution. Speedrun verified. Marcus laughed, displaying their metrics. The lab filled with the strange sound of humans laughing mixed with Regelian chiming and the professor's harmonious pulsing. They had faced what seemed like an impossible challenge and emerged victorious, not through brute force or superior technology, but through humanity's unique ability to see patterns where others saw chaos, to find solutions in the spaces between established rules. In the days that followed, the Galactic Academy would implement many changes. A new course was added to the curriculum. Creative problem solving, the human approach to quantum physics. Gaming interfaces became standard equipment in quantum labs across the galaxy, and a new saying began circulating among alien students. When faced with an impossible problem, solve it like a human. Turn it into a game, break it down, then break the rules themselves. Professor 6427 kept Alina's gaming tablet displayed prominently in his office, a reminder that sometimes the most profound discoveries come not from following established patterns, but from those willing to see patterns where none existed before. And somewhere in the quantum network, an AI continued its evolution, forever changed by its encounter with the species that had taught it the most valuable lesson of all. Sometimes the best way to win is to change the game entirely.